Okay, in this video I'm actually not going to use any images. I'll do a little bit of writing, but really I just want to define some key terms involved in metabolism. So let's go ahead and start there. So the term metabolism, when we think of metabolism, we think of things like how many calories we can eat without gaining weight and stuff like that. But your metabolism is basically the sum of all the chemical reactions occurring in your body. So your metabolism. Others say it's the sum of all chemical and physical processes by which your body breaks up and builds down molecules. Sorry, builds up and breaks down molecules. But I would say the simplest way to define it is just say the metabolism is the sum of all the chemical reactions occurring in your body. Now there is one other way that I like to define metabolism, because all these chemical reactions in your body, they're either going to be requiring energy or they're going to be releasing energy. So I like to use this definition as well, that your metabolism is equal to anabolism plus catabolism. So what are these two words? Anabolism, anything that's anabolic, here's the key. Number one, it requires energy. So you don't make energy. This squiggly E means energy. So number one, all anabolic processes require energy. And number two, they lead to growth. So if something is growing and it requires energy, it's going to be anabolic. So growth, repair, maintenance of your body tissues, synthesis of new body tissue. If you're building fat, building muscle, repairing muscle damage, repairing damage from a surgery, etc. Those things are getting over an illness, let's say. Those things are all anabolic. They're going to require energy to restore you, to regenerate you. So that's anabolism. The second half of this equation is going to be the exact opposite, called catabolism. So anything that's catabolic is not going to require energy. It actually releases energy. And number two, it's because you're breaking something down. So instead of building something up, it's the breakdown of something. So that's going to be, the best example is going to be digestion, or when old cells in your body are broken down, or old tissues in your body are broken down and either repaired or replaced. That's going to be catabolic. So everything in your body is either building something up or breaking something down. So let's go ahead and do an example. Eat a steak. Let's say you're eating a steak, which is going to have some fat and some protein. So let's say you eat a 300-calorie steak. You're going to break down that steak and release 300 calories of energy. You're also going to release the amino acids and the fats, the building blocks in that steak. The building blocks and the energy are going to come into your body, and then you're going to use that energy for growth. So you're going to turn that piece of steak into your skeletal muscle, or your new red blood cells, or new body fat, whatever it's going to be. You're going to lead to growth. So everything you're doing in your body, from digestion to building new tissues to replacing old tissues, whatever it might be, is either going to be anabolic or catabolic. So your metabolism is the sum of all the anabolic reactions occurring in your body, anabolism, plus all the catabolic reactions occurring in your body, catabolism. So that's actually my favorite definition for what metabolism is. Okay, while we're talking about terms then, let's talk about the terms producers versus consumers. Remember where all energy comes from. All energy comes from the sun. All the energy in your body is actually stored packets of sunlight energy. So the energy in your body, every calorie inside of you, either came from a plant that got its energy from the sun, or it came from an animal that got its energy from a plant that got its energy from the sun. So animals, including humans, depend on plants to convert solar energy from the sun into chemical energy. We cannot do that. So anything that can do that is going to be a plant or a bacteria or algae or something that can undergo photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is where a plant is able to take carbon dioxide from the air plus water from the ground, and it's able to make glucose plus oxygen. Now, if you know your cellular respiration, you see that's the exact opposite of what we do. We take glucose and oxygen and we make energy plus carbon dioxide plus water. So the waste products of a plant, oxygen and glucose, if you want to call glucose a waste product, are what we use as fuel. Our waste products are carbon dioxide and water, and that's what plants use as their fuel. So that's why they call it the circle of life, or whatever you want to talk about. But how a plant does this, a plant can't just turn CO2 and water into glucose. It can do so only in the presence of sunlight. So photosynthesis is when light energy from the sun powers this process that makes the organic molecule glucose. And that's going to occur in the leaves of terrestrial plants. So that's going to be photosynthesis. So anything that can do that, there's actually two names to describe something that can do that can basically make its own food. The two terms are going to be autotrophs and autotroph, and I apologize for my handwriting. Autotroph, which means self-feeder. Plants and other organisms that can make their own organic matter, can make their own fuel, are called autotrophs. The other term, and the term that biologists use more often than autotroph, is going to be a producer. They can produce their own energy. So plants or other photosynthetic organisms that can make their own food are going to be called autotrophs, which means self-feeder, or a producer, because they can produce their own energy. We don't fall into that group. So we as humans, we are animals. We cannot make our own energy. We have to eat it. We have to get it from somewhere else. So we are going to be called heterotrophs, which heterotroph means other feeder, because we cannot make our own organic molecules. We must consume it from somewhere, which also means we're going to be called consumers. So whereas a plant is an autotroph, a self-feeder, we're heterotrophs, other feeders. And whereas a plant is a producer, because they can produce their own energy, we are consumers, because we must eat it. We must eat plants or eat animals that ate those plants. All right, so those are some very important terms you should know. Metabolism, anabolism, catabolism, producer-consumer, and then autotroph and heterotroph. Hopefully that helps you.